challenging is this?
It's hard. It's extremely hard. You know, whenever you're not able to play, it's extremely hard. Just not being able to go through practice and not be able to be out there with the guys during the game and compete. It's extremely hard. But unfortunately, it's part of this business. Part of this game is sometimes you're gonna have to deal with injuries, and you have to find a way to fight through, stay mentally sharp, put yourself in those situations. That way, you know, when you are able to get back on the field, then you're ready to go and you're sharp, and you didn't mentally take a break as well.
Along those same lines, it seems your career's had two chapters. One where you're completely durable, you never missed anything, and now missing, I think, 25 of the last 30 games. That's just got to be, again, along those same lines, just frustrating after the first part of your career was spotless.
Yeah, it's kind of crazy. You know, I've never dealt with anything like this as far as during the season, where it's, you know, the ACL is the ACL. You know, it's pretty clear. I wasn't going to be able to either finish that year or play, you know, obviously when it happened again. But as far as during the season, I've never really had anything that I wasn't able to fight through, that I felt like I could fight through. So that part was extremely difficult. Just not being able to fight through the injury and do what I want to do, it's been tough.
Do you think playing against the Colts after the bye week is a reasonable possibility?
That's the goal. That's the goal right now for me is to get back on the field, use these next 2 weeks to get healthy, get back into throwing and get sharp and be ready to go. Obviously, not set in stone, have to see what happens, but that's my goal. I'm all in on doing everything I can to be ready for Indy.
What's the biggest issue? Is it the velocity on the throws, or is it the pain in the arm after the throw?
Yeah, it's just being able to make the throw. That's the issue. If it was just pain, then I could deal with that and I could go out and do it. But just being able to do the job is the issue.
Adam says you're not going to throw for a few days. It sounds like a setback. I mean, so is it? Or
no, I would say it's a setback. You know, I think over the course of this process, when I first stepped out, we took a rest period of 10 days. And tried to get back into throwing and just wasn't there. So, you know, backed off again. Now we're resting again, trying to just get the heel up, because every time the arm goes through that motion, it stresses that capsule. So that's the goal right now. Is just to let that thing tighten back down, heal up, and then get back into throwing, you know, during the bye.
When Adam Gase talks about your injury, it sounds like it's been very difficult to really pin down. That you guys were surprised at the beginning it turned out the way it did, that it's hard to predict one day to the next how you're going to feel, and that it's hard to even quantify or really say for certain that there's been progress over the past month. Has it been difficult for you as well? Have you felt like this is kind of a mysterious injury?
Yeah, it's been kind of a weird deal. You know, initially, you know, I went through that week of practice early on, and you know, thought it was going to be one of those things that I could just fight through, and it just fell off a cliff as the week went on. You know, so we rested it on Saturday, missed some practice on Friday, was able to get MRI rested, and then went and worked out Sunday morning, and I knew I wasn't going to be able to start at that point. So it was a weird situation where you think you're going to be able to fight through it and it's going to get better as the week went on, and it just drastically went the other way, and so that was tough. And then you know, rested it, went to throw again like I said earlier, and it just wasn't close. So shut it back down, and we'll see next week, you know, where we're at.
Is it any better than it was a month ago, or do you not know?
It's got to be. I mean, yeah, it was a little better whenever I went to throw again. It just wasn't close to where it needs to be to do the job and make the throws I need to make.
Is this an issue with pain, or is it just your strength isn't back?
Yeah, it's obviously it hurts, but like I said, the pain I can deal with. You know, it's not just pushing through pain. It's physically being able to get the ball to where it needs to go. So once I can do that, then we'll be in good shape.
Well, actually, I didn't know it hurt. So every time you throw a football, it hurts.
Oh yeah.
Do you exacerbate it every time you throw now? Is it made worse? Is that one reason you're resting now? Because it could get worse, just even throwing?
Yeah, that's something that could be a possibility, but it's not something where we know it's going to get worse or anything like that. I think more likely situation to get worse would have to be a similar situation would happen with the arm getting grabbed while making the throw. You know, I don't think it's something where every throw it's getting worse or anything like that.
Have doctors or trainers said that there is a possibility that you could not play again this season?
No.
How confident are you that you'll play again this season?
I'm very confident. I'm all in on getting back for Indy. Obviously, like I said, that's still up in the air, but I'm confident that the shoulder's getting better, and we'll be ready to go.
Is this something that you can get 100% with, or you're going to have to probably play through some pain when you're ready to go?
Yeah, I think it's going to be playing through pain, the rest of the year. Like I said, it's just being able, once I can make the throws and get the ball to where it needs to go, then we can deal with the pain. But just being able to physically make those throws is what we're trying to get to.
Is this something you might need to get fixed in the offseason?
I've talked to multiple doctors, and no one says surgery. So unfortunately, it's a time thing, and don't have much time in the season. So that's why this thing's kind of drug out over the past 4 or 5 weeks. So hopefully we're where we need to be and can get ready to go for Indy.
What are some things you're doing to rehab it? Is there certain workouts or exercises you do?
Oh yeah, I mean, I'm hours a day just trying to get my cuff strong. As far as the actual capsule, there's not a whole lot you can do. That just has to have time and heal up. But you can strengthen all the rotator cuff muscles around the shoulder, make sure everything's moving properly to lessen that stress on the capsule. So that's what we're focused on right now, is just making the muscles really strong around the capsule and making sure everything's moving properly.
When you're throwing, how much are you throwing?
Well, I'm not throwing right now. It's a progression, right? So when you take a break from throwing, you want to start small and build it back up. So you start at 10 yards and 40 throws, and then kind of builds from there. So we'll start that progression back over whenever I start throwing next week. Is you start small, and then you just keep building and get that stamina, get that arm strength back up to where it needs to be.
Is it painful just in everyday life? Is it painful for you, like when you go to reach something off the shelf or you pick up your kids or something like that?
Yeah, it's uncomfortable in overhead situations. But walking around, it feels, that's kind of the screwy part. Is if I played another position, then I'd be able to play. You'd be able to do it. It's that the motion of throwing stresses the part that I injured. So, unfortunately, I needed to be strong and be able to withstand that force going through the motion to do my job.
Have you ever had anything like this at any time, like college?
No, I've never knew what a capsule was until this happened. So, yeah, it's kind of a screwy situation.
How tough was it for you to go to Adam Gase or whoever for the first time and say, I think we've got a problem here, because you had been a tough guy, or not had been, but
Wow.
you had been.
Wow.
Wow.
Wow. Try me. Come on. Yeah. Yeah, it was extremely tough. Like I said, during that week, I just tried to fight through and thought I was going to be getting better throughout the week. And, I went from practice Wednesday to Thursday and, felt a whole lot different from Wednesday to Thursday. Then kind of stuck with it and came out Friday and knew immediately, first couple throws, that it wasn't a good situation. So, yeah, it was really hard to go over to Adam and tell him, like, hey, something's going on here. We're going to have to get this looked at.
Because of the place that's injured and your position, is there any possibility that if you come back before you're 100%, that you could cause more damage that would affect you for a longer period of time?
Yeah, I think that's one thing I talked to the doctors about is, you didn't want to get in a situation where he called it yo-yo, right, where you go back and forth of, you can throw, then you can't throw, you can throw, you can't throw. So that's one thing why we're trying to rest it and get it as strong as it can possibly be, where when I come back, then I'm back and I don't have to deal with that.
But I guess what I'm asking is, you plan to play again. I don't know that you're going to be 100%. I don't know that you know that you're going to be 100% when you play. Is there a greater possibility of injuring your throwing shoulder if you're not 100%?
Not to my knowledge, no. I've asked that question to the doctors, and they seem confident that if I'm able to make the throws, then it's not going to further injure or make a long-term situation happen.
All right, thanks, guys. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you, Ryan.
Thank you, guys.
Perk's the best. That's the former Chris Perkins. I love it.